Hey everybody, welcome. It is Wellness Wednesday again. We are back on track with Wellness Wednesday, and I'm so happy to be back on track with it because there are lots and lots and lots of you that's asking about where's that guy? Where's that thing with those creams again? Where are they at? We're interested. We want to see more. We want to learn more. And I'm glad you said that. And I'm glad you're asking questions because tonight is kind of special. Um, Mr. Daniel Lyons, which is here with the company NutriRelief, he wants to approach it a little different. And I agree wholeheartedly. This is going to be one of those times where it's going to be audience participation. Okay. Audience participation is what's going to happen this evening. He's going to cover some things, of course, which might strike some questions up in your mind. And we actually want you asking questions this evening. So we are coming into the holiday season. Hope everybody's ready. I know we just had a crazy fun saver find just happen, and I know people are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It was really well. So without further ado, I want to welcome my friend. I'm glad he's back. He had to go to a Las Vegas convention where he was treated like a king because he is. Everybody wants to know the products that he has. And we're just happy at Fun Saver Network to be able to be partnered up with Daniel and his wife and along with their company because it is absolutely phenomenal. So Daniel Lyons, you have the floor, sir. Let's get this thing started.
Get it going, Ron. Thank you very much. Always thank you for the introduction, and what a privilege always to talk to the Fun Saver Network and all of the wonderful people that are associated with it. Once again, thanking Bob for the introduction as always, and Shane for his what a man, what a man, what a man, bringing this all for everybody and the wonderful things that he does. And tonight I kind of wanted to focus. I mean, it seems like every time I come on, I'm introducing another product. And I think hopefully that you're looking at the Fun Saver Network website and you're seeing the different products. And it's important, I thought tonight, if someone was interested, you needed to understand a little bit more about the technology of liposomal delivery. That's on the table because I go over that fast, but it is a unique delivery system by which all of the creams have. They're unique in their liposomal application. One of the other things I wanted to cover was I do have two additional creams coming that many of you know, but they've just been out of stock and they're coming up. That's the B12, the methylcobalamin, which is, man, that's an amazing, amazing cream just for wellness, for clarity of mind and all of that. And the NutriFlow Max, which is the nitric oxide boost. This is the L-arginine, L-citrulline, Mucuna purins, but this is for sexual function, for blood pressure, for neuropathy, and it's something that we can talk about. But most of all, I'm really interested in that people have any feedback if they've been confused about how the creams have been working or should be working, or they wanted more information with what they're using. I'm happy to hear the Trauma Max is very, very popular, but you have such an array of creams that maybe sometimes people are just not knowing and they wanted to ask questions. So if there were questions, Ron, specific, I'm happy to answer any questions. And then the other thing, just to kind of tee it up, to keep it going, is as we come into the holidays, it's wonderful to anticipate the family. It's wonderful to anticipate that we're going to have a great time, but with it brings tremendous stress. It's historically, it's one of the most stressful times for people, just family, things that are happening in their lives, and also our immune function. Really important people coming from other areas into town. And we want to boost our immune systems, make sure they're strong as we get into these weather patterns. And I've got the products for that, and it's important that we understand the beef up on the D3, your immune system, the glutathione for functionality of that. And that's important. So all of these topics are on the table. But one thing I just wanted to lead into, just an open-ended question, is that if everyone understands the liposomal application. I just came back from Vegas, and it's interesting. I was invited by one of my suppliers there. I think I'd mentioned to you before, I'd reformulated my D3, my liposomal D3, with the MENA Q7. The MENA Q7 is the K2, which is a cofactor that work so well for beefing up your immune system. But I was invited to Vegas specifically for Supply Side West, which is just a massive, like 3 football fields of all the different suppliers for bioactives and everything that they're up to. What I find kind of interesting was the company that invited me is unique in that they ferment many different bioactives. They're a 170-year-old company, and they're in the business now of fermenting bioactives. And I'm using that inside of the D3 cream. Why I was treated like royalty there is I've created their first topical liposomal line utilizing their bioactives with the MENA Q7. And I have that trademark now. It's on it. And it's just an amazing D3 now with this MENA Q7 as a cofactor for K2, driving the freeform calcium that's released when you take a D3 supplement back to your bone matrix. And it's just so beneficial for aortic health, for vascular health. It has 22 clinical studies on it. But what was kind of interesting about being in Vegas and seeing all these different suppliers is that they're actually all involved in gummies, in capsules, and in soft gels. And I really still am very unique in terms of a liposomal topical delivery. There are guys that are making liposome for oral products to protect the bioactivity of them that are being digested. So they've got things like turmeric and vitamin C, but the liposome is being used as a protective element, which functionally, that's really not the best purpose for it. And so I just find that I'm still in a very unique position of having a unique delivery technology utilizing the skin as the point of administration rather than oral. So all of my products that are available to you are based on using your skin and the application of taking supplementation through the skin of all these bioactives, whether it's pain or for heart health or for blood pressure or for neuropathy, and then cognition also in terms of that. So if there are questions in terms of how their applications are going, I'd love to hear about it. We can revisit that. And in terms of any of those questions that may happening. But I really did reflect that I felt very comfortable, one, going to Vegas, but I'm also still excited about after all these years, I still have just a unique proprietary delivery technology that is so effective. And the ability to metabolize these bioactives through these topical creams, it's just not your mama's, topical cream where you just kind of patting it on and it's very superficial. My creams with the liposomal delivery technology is really metabolized on skin contact, and it's directly being absorbed through diffusion into your bloodstream. So these bioactives are getting completely utilized in terms of beneficial for their use into your bloodstream for all the activity of blood pressure regulation, nitric oxide, or the benefits of all the bioactives associated with them. So it makes me very proud of what I do and what I'm involved with. And what's exciting is about bringing new creams to you. The many people that have known me before are involved in wondering where's the B12 and where's the Nutriflow Max, and that's all coming. It's just basically I sold out, which is a great thing, But as a smaller manufacturer, things are ramping up, but it's good. It's all good, and I really do appreciate being involved with the Fun Saver Network. Great platform. What I've been amazed with is just the response that I'm getting from so many people, practitioners, but people that are in your network that are wanting to understand more or telling me just to call me up to thank you for the effects of these, and they love the pricing. There's no doubt about it. You guys are really offering something very special with the pricing that you're getting for these creams. And thank Shane for that every day and everything that he brings to the network. So,
and Daniel, because we have new people coming on board every day now. And every time we have one of these Zooms, we have new people that hasn't seen you yet, hasn't met you yet. So if you would, sir, would you explain the process of the skin delivery and why that's so important?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's really the basis of everything. Um, I had a little thing here I got from Vegas, which is interesting. You know those little balls that you get for your dog that are these little rubber balls that you throw
Mm-hmm.
down?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the suppliers of liposome there had this, and it was split in two. So it's kind of the, as I mentioned to you before, rather than slideshow, but really what a liposome is really a almost microscopic uh, dome, if you will, made out of a phospholipid. It's derived from lecithin, which is derived from sunflowers. But the beauty of this is it's a hydrophilic ball that allows us to insert bioactives inside of this protective ball. But this ball is really made out of a phospholipid structure, which is round in its shape and all of that, but it is microscopic, but allows us to blend the bioactives in it. Now, the key to the whole point of it being a phospholipid, I'll use that term, is our bodies create phospholipids naturally. Endogenously, we make them ourselves. So every skin cell, when you think about a skin cell, and blood cell, when you think about blood cells, we make it is surrounded by a phospholipid shell. That is what as these cells all move around our bodies and every skin cell in our body. So you can imagine in the delivery system that I have, which is based on a phospholipid shell that's encasing these bioactives in a topical cream format, when it hits the skin, it begins metabolism. Immediately, the phospholipid of a skin cell and a blood cell, which you know is right underneath the skin. If you nick yourself, the blood cells are there. So what you have is complete metabolizing of our bioactive. It's just a skin cell meets another, a phospholipid shell, and it just releases this on contact. It's like the body is recognizing my delivery technology as a friendly brother. It's like a handshake, and it's not like a foreign substance. Originally, when I started, and I created liposomals, we were using liposomals from the idea of it was this ability to penetrate the skin, to go through that skin membrane, the epidermis. But we've learned as the studies continue and the science is developed, is the actual skin cells, which we kind of believe are kind of dead, but it's actually very porous. It is a barrier to stop external infections, but as everyone's starting to realize, you're taking shower chlorine, you're finding that a lot of these things are passing these products that are not beneficial, sunscreens, things like that, are passing right through the skin barrier. So it's there as a barrier. But in my case, it's offering as an opening to metabolism. It's offering for supplementation. So the translation of my liposomal delivery technology, which is a trademark I have of LDT, liposomal delivery technologies, it's a proprietary delivery using liposomal technology. Well, what's so wonderful is that it is a system by which you can use any part of your body, your face, your skin, your feet, your arms, your wrists, actually even hairy areas, because of the hair follicles. Now the discovery has been they're actually entry points, the sweat glands, to penetrate deeper into the skin membrane. And so it's very, very exciting to see how effective and how the potential of being able to absorb these minerals, vitamins, and amino acids versus, the old adage is you are what you eat, taking things orally. But so many of us, myself really, is we're metabolically challenged. It's difficult for us to absorb nutrients through our gut. And the process of digestion is compromised by leaky gut syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, or just a difficulty with transit time in terms of going through the liver to metabolize everything to eventually get into the bloodstream and then to deliver all the bioactives. Where what's happening, for example, with folks that have been using the Trauma Max are seeing how quickly you can get pain taken away from it in this product. And that's really kind of the proof of showing how it works, is that if you target a pain of a shoulder or arthritic condition or inflammation or even wound healing, Really, that's a whole nother topic of how we can accelerate wound healing after an operation or sports injury. That there's acceleration in it, that these creams act so effectively on contact and targeting pain. So you don't have to wait to go through the whole digestive process for that to then attack an area. You can target a shoulder pain, and within minutes, literally, the testimonials, as you know, within minutes, 5 minutes, you can start to see that relief happening. For example, in the Trauma Max with the L-arginine citrulline is a vasodilation, opening up the blood flow, bringing more anti-inflammatory blood flow. But then the arnica and the boswellia, which are the medicinal actives in it, taking the pain away. And so that's really kind of a description, a short description of how the creams are working, but also in the face in terms of the benefits of the melatonin night cream, in terms of the anti-aging ingredients that are in it, but also the effectiveness of it, of putting on your face, on your temples, and really accelerating a sleep cycle. So, I can go on and on, but I mean, there's just another description of the liposomal benefits in terms of this delivery technology.
I want to show you what I do every night before I go to bed. Then I'm going to tell you what has happened since we talked last. That's what I do every night. Let me see if I can get it there. Come on, focus, camera. Focus, 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 focus. There it is. That's what I do every night before I go to bed. Every night. Okay. But here's what's happened since we talked last. As we get older, well, I'll talk about me. As I got older, I realized that when I woke up in the morning, that feeling of when I was younger going, oh, I just want to stay in the bed and sleep longer, kind of dissipated. I don't have it anymore. Right. Mm-hmm. And when I wake up, I get up as you get older. Well, now since I've been on this regimen here, I'm going to tell you, Daniel, it's amazing to me. When I wake up in the mornings now, I've got that same feeling that I had when I was much, much younger, of being kind of groggy. When you wake up, you're like, I don't want to get up yet. And you can go back to sleep and sleep for 2 hours. I'm having that now. And that's amazing to me. So that's what I do at night. And then during the day, I'm doing this, right? I'm doing that.
D3.
Here's a story of my 85-year-old mother, because I'm doing these for my pains, right? These here. I bought this same thing for my mom. She's been using it. She called me and she said, those creams are amazing, but I need to get some more. I said, Mom, you've only had it for 3 weeks. She goes, they're almost empty. I said, wait a minute, what are you doing? She said, well, I get these pains on my shoulder and my hips and my knees. She goes, when I hurt, I just rub it all over me. I'm going, oh, God, hold on. I said, did you not read the pamphlet? She goes, I can't see anymore. So she didn't read, right? So she's taking this Trauma Max and she's taking this 10%. And when she's hurting, wherever she's hurting, she's rubbing it on. She's rubbing it on and she feels fantastic. And I told her, I said, Mom, listen, it doesn't work like that. You can just put it 2 pumps where you want to put it and it gets you in your bloodstream. She goes, well, I need some more. That's all she had to say. So I had to buy her some more. So she is super excited about these pain reliever creams. I just wanted to share that with you because I thought that was pretty exciting.
No, it's great. It's a great story, but but also indicative of something like that's important for people. That's kind of the other interplay of this is there toxic level of these creams, and that's the beauty of these are amino acid, vitamins, minerals. Mm-hmm. The thing about the formulation of the metabolism. So I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm really, really want to emphasize this in terms of a thought process of, my line that we have in the Fun Saver Network is a clinician's line. Most of my business is supplying it to practitioners, naturopaths, doctors, very famous doctors, and they use this as a line. I got some doctors who write script, and they just write, get the melatonin night cream or the 10% niacinamide, Nutri-Relief. and that's their writing and prescription for them to contact us directly. But the key about this is that the day what I'm really talking about as practitioners is this idea of the mega dosing days are really starting to go bye-bye. The idea of 1,000 milligrams or 500 milligrams orally of these things really are not beneficial for function, liver function, and for the whole point of the digestive tract. And the difficulty of basically getting the absorption of these mega doses is really problematic. And in the formulation of NutriRelief, because it's absorbed almost like not, you know, I got my studies of 99% absorption. I use a 1-to-10 ratio, like 10 per 100, like 90% less, because you're getting all of this absorption of these nutrients of a B12 or a glutathione or a nitric oxide. So what's the beauty is that because they're just over the counter, they're amino acid, vitamin, minerals, which aren't toxic at all, you can use them over and over again within reason. But I mean, I have the same situation. A lot of the athletes, they are so sore over post-workout, say they're working shoulders or legs. They've got that anti-inflammatory response. So they're using the Trauma Max or the magnesium citrate for muscle relaxation, and they're lathering it. But at the same time, the beauty is the absorption factor of it. There's not a toxic level. I mean, within reason, I mean, there's no toxic level. But that's kind of the beauty that I want to say. We're using less of a bioactive because it's being more absorbed. So in the Trauma Max per se, I mean, once again, this is not something of where your pain goes away entirely and you never have to use the cream. It's just you've got activation of inflammatory responses, sciatica, and what these products are relief with natural pain relievers for a period of time, and you're healing. But at the same time, your activity, if you're sedentary, these aches and pains will reappear, and you can apply them over and over again. So, you know, that's more of an explanation just to let people understand it. It's a great story with your mom. And, you know, and I love, and for me as a practitioner, I also appreciate the consumption, that the people are consuming these products and seeing the value of them. And they're non-toxic in that value, but they're valued that they want the products over and over again. And they want to explore other products. If they're getting the sleep relief, if they're getting the pain relief, if they're getting arthritic relief, you know, what else is in the FunSaver Network line? Just because I've got great creams, I like to say this is a standard for the products that FunSaver Network has. You guys have got great products that you're selling, and I want to be open to be able to talk about it to all of the participants to understand what a great product I try to make, and I want to offer it to you thanks to the network. So,
well, you're doing super fantastic, is what I can say about, you know, supplying these products. And I'm gonna turn this over to questions, but I have to agree with Pam. Pam made a comment. She says, "Can you make a larger size for a Trauma Max? I need to bathe in it." So do I. I agree 100%. These tubes here kind of whoop, whoop. I mean, they go pretty quick when you use them. I mean, when you actually use them, but they're great. They're great. Okay, so let me go to the top. So Claudia Ordonio out in California, she said, "What is the best cream for autoimmune like arthritis?"
Yeah, so you know, it's interesting. Once again, when you know, as we get deeper into these Wellness Wednesdays, what I really like to crank up is going to be studies. You know, I'm going, hey, I just read the study. You guys are going to be amazed by this. But you know what they're really finding is that the access point for autoimmune disease is really the liver. And what's happening is the liver is kind of the top of the mark there. The liver is such an important organ for basically assimilating all of these toxins. And our world is getting more toxic. It's not getting less toxic. And in association with golfing or grass or pesticides and all these things that are in our food source, the liver is directly responsible for trying to eliminate these, or just imagine coming. I mean, sometimes if it had a consciousness and it could talk to us, he must be going, what are you guys doing? I mean, what are you trying to bring down in terms of you want me to try to absorb or eliminate and make a decision on what to do in terms of metabolizing these products or even the food source that we're getting. But what's happening is the inflammation. What's really an outbreak, even in children, is this non-alcoholic fatty liver, this fatty liver, this liver function. And that is really the access point for hormonal function. A lot of people that, a lot of docs per se don't really realize that access point, and they're starting to. And this is just current studies. This is what I like to talk about, is that thyroid function, when you've got some thyroid function, the first indication of lack of thyroid function is from the liver. The liver is controlling the signal to the thyroid for the T1, T3 hormonal release. So when you start to have dysfunction of the thyroid, it's really going back to the liver. And so it's really this inflammation of the liver. It's fatty liver. It's not necessarily alcoholic fatty liver. That's a separate issue, but just because of the diet, just because of the fattiness of the cholesterol, of the fast food sources. So they're saying that the axis point of most of the autoimmune diseases are coming from the liver. It's also a function of lack of ability for D3 absorption. Another function that's a problem with those of you in the East and the North there is Lyme disease. Lyme disease, one of the effects of Lyme disease is this chronic fibromyalgia and all that, but it's actually the inability to, because of Lyme disease by the pathogen of Borrelia, which is from the tick bite, it blocks your ability to absorb D3. So your D3 receptors are blocked. So you're always wondering, well, how do I have an autoimmune disease? What have I come in contact with? Something as simple as a tick bite could stop your ability to absorb through the gut D3, and that creates a complete realm of autoimmune disease. And the first effect of an autoimmune disease, the first usually is a skin rash, a psoriasis, rosacea. When you start seeing bumps on your skin, you're starting to see skin reaction. That's the first thing that you notice is an autoimmune response. And what that is just really the beginning of where you've got dysfunction within your body. And so autoimmune is really what we're coming up to, especially during the winter months and colds, sinuses, and during the spring. And to boost your autoimmune, are two specific creams. The D3 is so amazing for that, is really boosting your immune system. And it's really something that's so beneficial. We did a little bit of a deep dive in D3 and the K2 in terms of its function of bringing the freeform calcium back to the bone matrix, but also the function that it has as DNA, a DNA function. It gets converted to kind of technical a 25 hydroxy, but that's in conjunction with the magnesium that should be in your food supply. That's why we supply another cream, the magnesium citrate. So all these cofactors go together in terms of offering the benefits of boosting your immune system. The other thing is glutathione. Glutathione is something, and always as we age, you had mentioned as we get older, the functions of the body are not as effective in producing these natural anti-immune functions like glutathione, nitric oxide, B12, and the natural benefits of strong immune system are usually gotten from our food supply. So that's really the nature of the whole supplementation industry. It's a billion dollar industry for oral gratification when we can't seem to get it from our food supply. And so that's another aspect to it. If you're lacking in phytonutrients that you're not getting from your food supply, that was just a pump on that green power that I talked about, the organic green power. That's almost like a pre-digested. But I recommend anybody to get some kind of green phytonutrient involved in your diet system. And those are what are the things that are going to boost the immune system. It used to be the vitamin C, taking vitamin C was for sure going to stop colds and viruses from happening. But it's a complete system of having, the benefits of the antioxidants, the phytonutrients, and the super antioxidants like glutathione in your system, protecting you and boosting your immune system. So I hope that kind of answers that question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So here's the next one. Is there anything for my granddaughter having her monthly severe cramps and headaches?
Yeah. Excuse me. Young daughter, right? Not like she's got a hormonal imbalance in this. It just sounds like digestive issues of cramps more than, I wouldn't say it's hormone, but I mean, obviously, we do have the Pro Balance, which is a hormonal cream, but for a young girl, it's a little early, but these are things that are happening. Digestive issues are really typical, and I think everyone really suffers from the digestive inflammation. But I really think it's anxiety can have a big part of the digest. I had that as a child. I had a very active digestive system in terms of I used to get, I couldn't eat breakfast, make me nauseous. And that was from kind of attention deficit, from nervousness. And the wonderful cream that I can recommend, rather than it being a hormonalish, I'll just say it's nervousness, could be stress, competitiveness, maybe a little attention deficit, thinking that you're behind the eight ball. And, sometimes the stress of school creates that digestion of cramps and just anxiety. The GABA L-theanine is marvelous for children. This GABA L-theanine we created for children on the autistic spectrum. That's when we first created it back in 2009. And it's a very gentle cream. It's GABA L-theanine is gamma butyric acid, and it is an amino acid together with L-theanine, excuse me, which is an analog of green tea. And so these are a neurotransmitter that's calming the brain function, but so beneficial for brain function. So the excitement of post-traumatic stress or anxiety of ADHD or attention deficit in that case, which create these stressors that can create cramps. This is the benefits of GABA L-theanines. So I'd be curious for her to try before you go off to school in the morning, just a little bit, you're saying goodbye to your daughter, give a little bit of hand on the wrist, just a little squirt or two. And you might notice that the teachers come back and go, God, your daughter's all of a sudden paying a little more attention in school or less anxiety. But I'll throw that into anxiety. Stress anxieties can really affect learning capabilities, stressors for cramps, because it's just that sensation of overwhelming can do it rather than a hormonal imbalance. I can't think of anything other than that in the moment.
Perfect. Perfect. Now Jim says, I have arthritis and psoriasis.
Yeah. So the arthritic condition, once again, it's really neat that we have a number of creams that are doing this, but the 10% niacinamide, I don't know if folks are really understanding this. It's kind of been a sneaky thing that this 10% niacinamide has become a number one seller, and it's been mostly from so many people utilizing it for so many different things. But as far as an arthritic condition in conjunction with pain, if you have arthritis and you don't have pain, the 10% niacinamide is an amazing cream. It's so fantastic in terms of what this large concentration of niacinamide can do for the arthritic condition and really loosen that up and make flexibility for you. If you've got pain associated with it, that's why the Trauma Max works well, because it's got those vasodilators of the L-arginine citrulline, which is increasing blood flow, taking away inflammation with the benefits of the arnica and the boswellia. But the 10% niacinamide also works very well for that. I was going to follow up with you, Ron, on that. My recommendation, you use that 10% on your shoulder to build that muscle up, because you're saying I was getting the pain away, but I still feeling that hitch. It
That's
really can't
exactly what I've been doing.
Yeah,
Exactly what I've been doing.
yeah. And the psoriasis, and it can be very, very effective for skin conditions. We actually we have another label we put on it in our 21 care. We call it skin repair because of the collagen aspect of it. So try a little bit of that on your psoriasis, as long as you don't have an open sore, or like I've got clients that got so much psoriasis, they're picking at it. got an open wound on open wound, I don't like to see you putting it into an open wound, but definitely put it around the infected area of psoriasis or rosacea and see if that doesn't really work for you. Now, if you find that it's too drying because it does dry up. It's another thing. It works great for adult acne or even high school kids' acne. It really wipes out acne very quickly, the 10% niacinamide. But if you find that it's not moisturizing enough, you can put that in with your magnesium citrate. It's a very moisturizing cream. So as you're putting on, say, a magnesium citrate, put a couple squirts of the 10% niacinamide in that area of psoriasis. And I think you'll find that it'll really be effective for knocking that down. You might get rid of it entirely. So just a
That's perfect.
tip there.
And here's a new lady that just came on board with us, Dawn. She has a question. What would you recommend for facial and feet edema?
Okay. So, edema is something that is really interesting. I almost throw edema into kind of neuropathy in the same way. Is what you've got is a inflammation and is inflammation of tissues versus inflammation of nerves. And that's what's so important about edema. I mean, edema, it can be, serious effect of of lack of circulation. And that's the first thing I'd like to see when someone's telling me they've got edema. I'd like to see if they can get their circulation increased. And what's happening with diabetic neuropathy is a similar situation to edema, is that the blood is going down through legs or maybe not getting to areas of your face in this case, as far as edema. It's an inflammatory response. And what's so beautiful is when you can get a vasodilator like L-arginine that increases the vasculature and brings more blood flow to these areas of edema. And by bringing a more blood flow and getting that blood flow refreshed, getting that blood flow back up to your lungs and the heart is what's essential to eliminate inflammation. And that is really the beautiful. That was, the L-arginine won a Nobel Prize for nitric oxide and the ability to create endothelial health. And that's that sheath, micro thin sheath that's in all of our arteries that controls the pulsing of the valves that bring heart all the way through our body back up to our lungs and heart again. And an edema really is a function of inflammation. The direct cause of that inflammation, it can be of various things, but I would try an anti-inflammatory in terms of blood flow first, which would be the 10% niacinamide. It could be the Nutriflow, the Trauma Max. And then what's coming in the next 30 days is going to be the Nutriflow Max. People just love that for neuropathy, edema. Okay. I hope that answers the question.
It does. It does. And Hector, when you say diabetes, I don't know if that's diabetes or type 2. I don't know what it is. But I will let Daniel address that. But if it's type 2 diabetes, I'm going to tell you a story. In 2014, I went to the doctor. They did blood tests and found out I was a hypertension, high glucose, prospect for having diabetes. I just went with the flow. 2014 to May 22nd of this year, I was taking, what's it called? Glucose medicine, diabetes medicine. I think it was
Metformin, metformin.
yeah, metformin, and it was the extended version of the metformin.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how bad that was on my liver, but I found out how bad it was on my liver when I had a CAT scan done, just going through regular stuff, getting my body checked. Found a spot on my liver that was 4.2 centimeters, right? So I went in and got this information May the 22nd. Let me tell you what I did. I walked out of that doctor's office on May the 22nd this year. I went to the grocery store. I bought completely all whole foods. I bought vegetables. I bought greens. I didn't buy nothing in a box. I don't eat anything white anymore. I don't eat breads. I don't eat any of that stuff. I eat fish. And everything I eat is fresh. Nothing in a box, nothing in a can, none of that stuff. I did that for 60 days and went back and had my blood work done. It was impeccable. Had another CAT scan done, and whatever that was on my liver, which I think is consistent with a fatty liver, went from 4.1 to a 2.3.
Yeah.
He said, we don't need to worry about it. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. So I'm not telling you there's not things that you can put in your body or rub on your skin or whatever, but I'm telling you, Hector, if you're suffering from diabetes 2, you got to change your diet. It's called diabetes for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally recommend, I totally agree with you in terms of, and that is just another thing. It's through diet, phytonutrients, once again, I'll go to my organic green power as a complete phytonutrient just for the benefits of a pure green organic, together with a number of beautiful minerals that are in it, and also pre and probiotics. It's a complete meal, almost kind of, it's a meal supplement. That's what all these green drinks are about. And it's really the digestive process. Now, going to a diabetic symptomatic of diabetes 2 in this case would be going back on the edema, or in this case being neuropathy. If you're developing diabetic neuropathy, man, there's nothing like the Trauma Max, or for that really basically getting that blood flow down to the, I mean, I've literally changed people's lives who could not walk from diabetic neuropathy, swollen feet, swollen ankles, almost like, the edema is that, almost we'll call it those ankles that are like stalks. And just, the gratification of people with diabetic neuropathy, taking, say, the Nutriflow Max at night or the Trauma Max, putting it directly on the locations of the neuropathy, and waking up and I've got ankles again, and they're walking again, and they're losing weight, and they're exercising. So I mean, really, really great stories associated with something as simple as increasing blood flow. And that's exactly what diabetic neuropathy is. It's and the causes of dangerous diabetic is nerve damage, and then lack of sensation in your feet, and then lack of mobility. Do not allow that to happen. Get these vasodilators, the anti-inflammatory effect of bringing more blood flow, endothelial health, get that blood to return back up through the legs, even if it's been somewhat damaged. When you've got excessive blood flow, it's interesting, the human body will find tributaries, will create new tributaries. It wants to send the blood flow back up. It does not want pooling of blood down in the lower extremities or any extremities. So this beauty of the L-arginine citrulline is a vasodilation, is bringing anti-inflammatory blood flow. That is how you heal. Blood flow comes in, it's an inflammatory response, but you want it to clear it out by bringing fresh blood flow. That's the healing process.
You got to move your body. You got to move your body always. Now, Claudia asked, she said she got the D3 and she's putting it on her chest. Is that the best place? I think you got a brochure also, Claudia, that gives you different pinpoints where you can put it.
Yeah, great. Any location will work. It's just, once again, it's any location. I mean, originally when we first started, people were saying, I'm running out of places to put the creams. I was putting them here and putting them there, putting them everywhere. But I mean, the key is the beautiful. When you're dealing with liposomal, that is the beauty. I mean, if you've got clean arms, okay, you've taken a shower or even taken a washcloth, you can apply multiple creams application. For example, the D3. I would love for you to squirt D3 on your arm, and I highly recommend, if you're not taking some form of magnesium, and I don't care if it's an oral form or I have a magnesium citrate, any magnesium, but put my D3 right there, and you could rub that on your wrist, rub it on your chest, but to make the application your protocol. I want to make these protocols easy for you folks. I don't want them to make, I'm here, there, I'm everywhere. You can blend these creams in the palm of your hand, liposomal with liposomal. What you will find is if you put a liposomal cream on, it's absorbed, and then you put like Curel or some kind of other just moisturizing cream, you'll find that it goes in the area where you put a liposome. It'll just slough off because you filled your skin absorption in that point. But when you put these creams on, just rub them in all over, but don't try to do any other thing other than liposomal with liposomal. So anywhere would be great. The chest is fabulous. The arms are fantastic. The feet are wonderful. Just make it simple for you. But in an application of D3, I'd add magnesium citrate, and you have now a complete cofactor working for you, because the need of D3 to be converted to a hormone, it's looking for magnesium in your body. And if it doesn't find it, it's going to rob it. It's going to go take it from your bones. It's going to go try to find magnesium anywhere it can. Otherwise, it doesn't convert to 25-hydroxy, which is so beneficial for mitochondrial function, DNA synthesis too. So it's a little, it goes into the process of really metabolizing these products.
That's great. That's great. Now, let's see here. Damon, Damon, I'm going to answer this one. Do we have any loss? Damon, I'm going to say, if we had something for hair loss, we would all be running to the bank tomorrow. I'm just telling you. Go ahead, Daniel. You have something for hair loss or not?
Yeah, well, number one, right off the bat for hair loss, for sure, you want to be getting the B12. I mean, the B12 is so beneficial. Hair, skin, and nails. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, I'm only can say an example for myself, but, I've got 4 other brothers, and they are all bald and all completely gray haired. But all they got is gray hair and very little of it. And they're always kind of pissed off at me, is like, what is it? What's with your hair? And I have to say, it's just years and years and years of the B12. B12 is something we don't necessarily get from some, it's a very much an essential B vitamin. And the methylcobalamin, this will be available like in the next 30 days. But this is skin, hair, and nails. I mean, it's amazing. Not that I'm, saying anything, but my nails just, I can create claws in my nails because of the B12. I really believe it's fabulous for the production of hair, skin, and nails. It's very beneficial. But for hair, gosh, it's funny. I just had a person, I got it, it's crazy, but I'm going to ship. So B12 is going to be available. That's one thing I would have. I have created a hair serum, a liposomal hair serum. I've not gotten into production for a Canadian company, and I did this whole, formulation for them, and it's not in production just yet. But if they don't do something soon, I'm going to go ahead and create a hair serum. It is a hair serum. I've created it. It's just they're kind of waiting to do it big time, and made some agreements. But I don't want to say this is kind of crazy. This is totally off tangent. But the other person, a scientist called me the other day who's been using my progesterone cream for a while, the hormonal progesterone, feminine wellness.
Mhm.
And men, it's interesting, and women have been telling me for the longest time that they have tremendous hair growth from taking progesterone. And it's kind of a side adjunct to the whole situation, because what are the benefits of progesterone for men? But for women, they're telling me their hair is, they go to the hairdresser and they keep telling them that they've been taking the progesterone for hormonal benefits of imbalance of hormones, but that the hairs are so thick. So it kind of leaves me to the idea of, not that you necessarily want to get a bob of progesterone, but it's a feminine wellness product. I was looking at Bob going, yeah, get a hair product out there. But I just, if your wife is on progesterone by chance, take a chance and just rub that progesterone in those little areas. Anything's possible, but just funny. I just thought I'd throw that as an antidote there.
That
But
is funny. That is funny. Naomi, the collagen cream is here. 10% niacinamide.
yeah.
That's what it's called. That's what
And
it's
just to
called.
go back in terms of the name for that cream, 10% niacinamide, we call it collagen power because we've had so success in terms of people using, this is why, like Cheryl will tell you about it being an amazing scar cream. I mean, literally will make scars, even old scars, it just does something to the skin that makes them almost disappear. Lumps and bumps of scar tissue that you've had. But what it's done, and what it does is it creates new um, skin cells, which is so unique in it, but it protects the existing collagen. You know, a lot of people say you can't grow new collagen. It doesn't have a blood supply to create new collagen in your existing joints in the spinal column and also in the knee for knee replacement. But I've got people that have had bone on knee, bone on bone hip, having to have a hip replacement, and they just couldn't do it. They just won't do it because the expense or the time and recuperation. They've used the 10% niacinamide direct application on bone, and it makes this veneer on a bone that really allows them to go through it. It's really amazing topical cream for that. The other aspect, Ron, I recommended to you, it grows, it promotes ligament growth. So it's creating a skin collagen basis of new skin growth, promoting skin growth. And that's why the other product label we have is called Skin Repair. So it works very beneficial. So it does protect existing collagen. It does protect and help with bone-on-bone applications. But as a collagen promoting product, it really is beneficial for that.
Well, it must be working, Daniel. I had an 800 series just a few weeks ago. So in bowling.
Hey,
Oh,
Ron.
excellent.
Ron,
Yes.
I want to say something about that niacinamide. I did the Trauma Max. I use that on my wrist, but the niacinamide, I have a rotator cuff problem. I've had it since 2017. I started using that niacinamide on my shoulder. I used to couldn't lift my arm up above my head, and now I no problem. That stuff works.
Yeah.
It really does. I'm a
Thank you.
living witness.
Yeah,
We're
thank
having
you.
amazing testimonials, Daniel, on these
Yeah.
products.
Yeah, you know, I've got a doctor father-in-law who's a like, you know, PhD, MD, and GOD. You know, they just think they know it all. And this guy has frozen shoulder. He can't lift his arms up higher than his elbows. And I just, you know, I tell him all the time, it's funny, family members, man, do this, do this. No, nothing can help me, nothing can help me. And really, it's the inactivity, you know, if
Yeah.
you don't keep, you know, physical therapy, I mean, that's the thing about as we get older. You know, I'm about to turn 70 in April. And one of the main things is I'm really on the phone a lot and I'm sitting and I'm working tremendous amount, but I just got to make a practice. The immobility is really one of the catastrophic circumstances. So any shoulder issues, you can cure that. I've had dislocated shoulder, and I mean, I've regrown those ligaments. It's through physical therapy and something like the 10% niacinamide to regrow those ligaments and strengthen them. So thank you for that testimony. But you can work that in any area of ligament damage, sports injuries. Awesome, you know, for that.
That's fantastic. So, folks, I've got 6 minutes till the top of the hour. We are going to conclude this at the top of the hour. So don't get angry if we didn't get to your question, because the questions are keep coming and I'm taking them in order. So we will go to the top of the hour. So next is Dennis. Will this help with neuropathy caused by a pinched nerve in the spine? I think so. I would say.
I'm sorry, I was just looking at a
Yeah,
question.
it was a question. It was a question. Will this help with neuropathy caused by a pinched nerve in the spine?
Yeah, you know, like sciatica or inflammation of. I'm just going to really. This is really important too. So inflammation, sciatica, the inflammation of a nerve is just that's a buster, as they say. I've experienced myself. You know, I will suggest a combination. Taking the pain away, definitely the Trauma Max, but make sure you throw magnesium. Magnesium is amazing for it helps nerve inflammation specifically. So not necessarily, it does the muscle cramps and it does wonderful wonders when you overdo it in your musculature, but magnesium is underrated and the studies have indicated as a anti-inflammatory for nerves. So put a little combination of the magnesium citrate on those nerve and let it, and in combination with pain relief, vasodilation, blood flow, put that magnesium in this inflamed nerves and you'll watch that you'll get relief shortly from those. Really
Right.
important.
And if you would, Daniel, can you verbally tell everyone your email address if you want to? So if they have any more questions, I can just send you an email.
Yeah, sure. And my personal email address, which is D as in Daniel, C Lyons, Lyons 55, I was born in 55, at gmail.com.
DC Lions
55
55
at
at
gmail.com.
Gmail.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. I just put it in the chat, everybody. DC Lions 55 at
That's it.
gmail.com. All right.
Yeah,
So
feel free. Yeah, I'm pretty good at getting back to folks and specific. What I really enjoy are, symptomatics. Like the symptoms. Sometimes doc will tell you something, but what is it you're feeling? Is it pain? Is it confusion? Is it fibromyalgia? I've got. What are the symptoms of it? Is it confusion? Is it ankle joint pain? These issues that are it's a relief, and typically they're just going to be a deficiency in mineral, vitamin, and amino acid. And that's really the root cause, or liver function, digestive issues.
Mm-hmm. So another question. Would B12 called PCOS to be worse, like the unwanted hair growth on odd parts of the body, mostly facial?
Did you say, I'm sorry, I missed the front part of it. What was, if,
Would
what
the
was,
B12, would the
yeah.
B12 cause PCOS to be worse, like the unwanted hair growth on odd parts of the body, mostly facial?
Yeah. No, I haven't had that response from a lot of people. A lot of folks that I've got with PCOS, I've also got a sense of anemic response too. It's anemia. And the B12 is beneficial for that. I don't have any downside with that in terms of facial hair growth, although I have seen that some women who are doing progesterone do have increased acne and hair growth, but it's more of a hormonal issue than that. Although PCOS is, that's really kind of a specialized situation, but I don't see that being a B12. I think B12 has been very beneficial for women that have tried to conquer that with their anemic reaction to PCOS. So that's just been my experience.
What about a cream for radiation or chemo?
Yeah, I highly recommend the melatonin. Melatonin is very, very beneficial. Really highly, can't tell you. There's some great studies for the melatonin in terms of the free radical scavenger and also the benefits for the increasing the effect of cancer drugs, assists in their effectiveness, and also takes away pain from chemo and radiation. The pain experienced from chemo and radiation. There are protocols, I will tell you, many of my people who are doing cancer protocols, naturopaths, are doing up to 50 milligrams of melatonin during the day. And they're using the creams to take this during the day. Because when you have melatonin in your bloodstream, it really prohibits the migration of cancer, of traveling and migrating. Typically, cancer tumors grow during the day. At night, they don't grow because of the saturation of our endogenous melatonin in our bodies for the sleep cycle. So that gives you an indication of if I do this. Now, you don't get sleepy by taking melatonin during the day because melatonin is controlled endogenously by the optic nerve. In sun and light, it sends a message to the pineal gland for serotonin. So melatonin is created endogenously through darkness, and that's why saturated bloodstream stops the migration or the growth of tumors and cancer. So during the day, it's a protocol to saturate the blood with melatonin to have that free radical scavenger. Melatonin is a free radical scavenger. It's going after free radicals that can be the cause of cancer.
Perfect. Two more. I know it's straight up the top of the hour. Two more. We're out of here. So the name of the neuropathy cream again, what was that?
The name of the neuropathy cream is the Nutriflow Max, which is coming, but the same ingredient would be in the Trauma Max, the L-arginine L-citrulline. It's to create vasodilation. Okay. Now, if you don't have pain, I mean, I made two versions of basically Nutriflow Max is also is effective for reducing blood pressure, erectile dysfunction, sexual function for men and women, but it also wonderful blood flow for diabetic neuropathy. But even though you don't have pain, utilize it because the NutriFlow will be coming at the end of the month or into December, and that is the perfect neuropathy cream for lowering blood pressure and diabetic neuropathy. It's just beautiful cream for that.
Right. And the last question.
Okay.
What about enlarged prostate issues?
Yeah, so the NutriFlow Max was made for that too. NutriFlow Max, like Flomax. So trying to increase it. Now, some causes of the prostate are different, but in this case I always like the idea of the inflammation of the prostate, the enlarged prostate. And what we want to try to do is get more blood flow to that area. Some folks are approaching it from another as, oh no, don't want to increase the, blood flow to the prostate because it's just going to enlarge it. Well, typically what's happening with the prostate is inflammation. Always it's going to be a inflammatory response, which is affecting the prostate. Some people could have a reaction to it as you're sending too much blood flow to increase the growth of a prostate. But I've got so much testimonials from folks that have said, oh man, that's done the relief for it. I'd say Trauma Max, but I don't like the peppermint and the arnica in the area of the prostate. Just a little too much for that case. But I would try the NutriFlow. So when we get that, we'll have a specific conversation when that NutriFlow is available. We'll talk about the prostate. Okay.
And the B12 when you get the B12 as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic, Daniel. Thank you again for doing what you do. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering where this recording is going to be, I always, the very next day, it goes inside of our community. If you're not part of school, be sure and become part of school private community. I also post them on our YouTube page, which is Fun Saver Network. If you go to YouTube and type in Fun Saver Network, you'll see our page. Again, Daniel, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll do this again. Look forward to it. Always look forward to your knowledge and things you can share with us. This was the most wonderful Q&A. I love doing this. It gets people's questions answered. And for all of you out there in Fun Saver Network, let me remind you of something while we're here. This coming Friday, don't forget to see the Fun Saver find. I'm just telling you, it's all high-end jewelry. Okay? That being said, folks, have a fantastic night. Love all of you. God bless. We will see you tomorrow on Bob's version of the Business Opportunity, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here at weareonzoom.com. Good night, everybody.